What's up, guys? This is Preheat. I'm coming at you again with the new video. This one's about my top 10 changes coming in Shadowlands. Obviously, there's a lot changing in Shadowlands, both good and bad. But for today, I'm just going to focus on the good. I'll be talking about the bad in a future video, discussing my top 10 concerns and problems with Shadowlands. But for now, we're going to keep it positive. Basically, everything I'm addressing today is going to be from a high-end Raiders perspective. But there are some changes that I feel are very good for the game. That don't necessarily have to, impact just the high-end Raiders. It impacts everyone who plays World of Warcraft. And, they're healthy changes for the game, things I'm looking forward to. So, without further ado, let's get started with number 1. So, my number 1 change for Shadowlands has to be the new raid content. I mean, it should be obvious, right? This is the thing that's most important to me, the race to world first. Obviously, Shadowlands will have more than one raid too, so we have multiple raids to look forward to. Very, very exciting stuff. Castle Natria has already been tested. We've already seen all the fights on Mythic except for Sire. So far, the fights look awesome. I mean, like, all the bosses look sick. I already wrote an article on Wowhead about this. It'll be up there in the top right of your screen. But if you're wondering about which bosses I'm most looking forward to, that's going to have to be Sludge Fist. I feel like this boss is going to be just absolutely epic. He's like a towering behemoth that runs around the room. There's kind of like a soft enraged part of the fight where you have to run him into pillars, but you don't have that many pillars, right? So you basically have to just kind of elongate the fight as much as you can before you wipe. If he hits a wall, the whole building starts collapsing, you die. It's really awesome. It's really epic. I'm super looking forward to this boss. All right, number 2, no more corruption, no more Titan forging. So I kind of grouped these both together, but obviously corruption is the thing that I care about more so. I'm just so done with corruption, and I just really can't wait for that to be over with. Corruption as a whole, I feel like, was a good system. It was a neat system, especially the positive effects. The problem I have with corruption is specifically grasping tendrils. Thing from beyond, whatever, right? Like, if you have the eye on you, it's whatever. But that RNG slow, and especially having it be like the first tier so you can't avoid it if you have any corruption level whatsoever, to me, that's just so bad. Our PPM slows should never have been introduced into the game, and it's ridiculous that we have to deal with the stuff. Even if you handle it right away, even if you immediately cloak whenever you get slowed at a bad time, a slow at a very specific time can be fatal, right? Like, just think about the big move that you have to do on Carapace whenever you're making that move without a Warlock Gateway. There are other examples as well. I mean, like, anytime you basically have to make a snap decision to move from one place to another, if you get slowed, even if you think about it for literally a fraction of a second, instantly cloak, you're still probably going to die to it. And I just feel like this is just a really unfair and frustrating mechanic to deal with. So happy that that's going to be gone. Also, with the elimination of Titan Forging, we now have BIS again, BIS list. And I don't know about you, but I super enjoy having the ability to make my character as strong as possible and be done within the expansion. So yeah, I'm super excited that we will be saying goodbye to corruption and Titan Forging for the foreseeable future. All right, and coming at number 3 is the change to sockets. So obviously, Blizzard has stated that they're getting rid of Warforging, they're getting rid of Titan Forging, but they still want to allow you to have sockets to put gems into on your gear. How you get these sockets on your gear can happen in 2 different ways. So you can either have the gear just natively have a socket on it when it drops for you, but if you don't want to have to deal with RNG and luck, you can also add on your own sockets, kind of similar to how the gouged eyes work currently in Visions of N'Zoth. Overall, fantastic change. Really excited to be able to add in those gems on my gear just like I can do on live currently. But it actually goes one step further, and this is just a fantastic change. This is why I have to talk about this one in depth. So they are actually limiting the total impact of gems by making it so that only 6 pieces of your gear can even have a gem socket on it, period. So regardless of if you're adding it yourself or if the item just drops with the socket on there just due to RNG, you can only get sockets on your helmets, your rings, your bracers, your belt, and your neck. So, 6 sockets in total that you can have on your gear, because remember, that's helmet, neck, bracer, belt, plus the 2 rings, right? So that's 6. But yeah, this allows you to basically grind out for those extra sockets. It allows you to still have a little bit of choice in how you want to kind of build your character, aside from just the stats natively on your gear. But it also doesn't go too far because, you can only grind it for up to 6 sockets. I am looking forward to seeing how that grind actually plays out. Obviously, that will determine whether or not I like this system in the future. But for now, this seems like a really, really good thing to bring into the expansion. So I'm definitely excited for it. Number 4 is going to be the weekly chest change. So this is something that so many players have complained about in the past. I always hear negative things about the cache, right? Because everyone feels like they're just getting screwed every week on all their alts and their main, you know, it's like really hard to find those upgrades from the cache. Almost feels like a waste of time, honestly. So what Blizzard is doing in Shadowlands to kind of fix this problem is they're allowing you the ability to choose a reward from your cache, and the amount of choices you get depends on how many activities you did. So if you just do one weekly no leaver, right, you're gonna just have one option in your cache, period. So you can still go the route. If you want it to just be super laid back and mulligan, you just get whatever gear you get and you move on, that's fine, right? So you can just do one mythic dungeon a week. But if you want to maybe do more mythic dungeons, and maybe you also raid, maybe you also do PvP, this allows you more options. So each option is tied to that activity. So basically, you get additional options for that specific category, which impacts what gear you get. Allegedly, you aren't supposed to be able to get 2 pieces of the same piece of gear. We did see a screenshot from beta where that happened, and then Ion himself actually went on Twitter and said, this is a glitch, it shouldn't be a thing. So we can look forward to being able to choose from up to 9 unique items from your cache, which is fantastic news, and it means that, you know, you'll be able to actually get those upgrades from the cache. It won't feel like you're just wasting your time every week. You go over and open up the box. So really excited about that one. Coming at number 5 for me are the changes to legendary items. So I know a lot of people in Legion didn't really like legendary items, and I totally get where you're coming from if you don't like legendaries. They were terrible to get. The systems for how you would determine which item would drop for you were basically non-existent at the start of the expansion. It left a really bad taste in a lot of people's mouth because they maybe got sat for someone who was a worse player but had the right legendaries right. Just overall terrible at launch. However, at the end of Legion, if you played through and you actually stuck with it, the legendary systems were fantastic. You actually had the ability to kind of choose which legendaries you got. You had items that were bound on account that you could give to your alts to just open up a legendary item on that alt. And overall, just the ability to kind of have more legendaries drop and collect the ones that you needed made the game feel really good, because legendaries, you know, like it or not, they added like a lot of flavor to the game, right? So legendaries are actually coming back in Shadowlands, and you have the ability to choose which legendary you get, which means that you basically are crafting your own legendaries. Not only do you get to choose the stats on the gear, you also get to choose the effects, right? And some of those legendary effects can be added to different pieces of gear, so it isn't like, you know, set categories for which legendary can go in what slot. Overall, fantastic changes. You know, legendaries as a system, if you discount the whole problems with how you acquire them, are fantastic. They add a lot of flavor to the game, and you know, honestly, I'm really excited to try out some of these new legendaries. I've been already trying them in the beta. We already have a pretty good idea of which ones are like the typical, you know, best in slot for single target or whatever, but it is really cool still, because some of those legendaries can be useful in other situations that may not necessarily be single targets. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Coming at number 6 is going to be the changes to the amount of baseline abilities that we have, and also the talents and where they are located on the talent tree. So obviously this change in your excitement over it is going to vary depending on what class you play. I am going to come at this from my perspective, because remember, this is my top 10 list. So as a mage, I think that overall the addition of certain abilities, especially like Arcane Explosion, is great. I'm really excited to have these abilities back in the game. I'm excited to use them again. But also the changes to the talent tree, I think, are overall pretty nice. You know, especially for Arcane, you know, they're changing where Arcane Orb is in the tree so that we'll be able to use it again. They are adding in a new trait on the Rune of Power row, redesigning Rune of Power, making it 1 charge and making it automatically drop whenever you use your cooldowns. So this kind of ties into also the GCD thing, where a lot of abilities are being taken off the GCD. I think overall the changes to talents, to spells, to you know, abilities not being on the GCD anymore, I feel like this is overall a positive thing as a mage, and I feel like other classes probably are in the same boat, and I'm definitely looking forward to this change. So coming in at number 7 is going to be the changes to the character creation screen and the customizations for your character. So you're probably a little surprised to hear me talk about this, because you might think that I have, you know, more of a you know, high-end raider perspective and don't care about this stuff, but I do think that this is important for the game. I feel like customization is something where World of Warcraft, or, you know, really kind of maybe there were some missed opportunities in the past, right? I love the ability to, customize each eye individually to add in, special tattoos, having more options for, like what hue or what skin tone your character has. All this stuff is really great. I feel like a lot of it is inclusive, and I'm, honestly, I'm excited to see these changes. And also, I'm just going to come out and say it, the best hairdo ever in the game, that in the whole history of World of Warcraft, the ability to add a palm tree to the top of your troll's head. I mean, come on, that's just 10 of 10, right? All right, and coming at number 8 is gonna be the new art, right? So, as I'm sure you all know, the Blizzard art team is basically always on point. But I'm really excited for the new spell animations. I'm really excited for some of the new models that they're bringing out, and of course the new zones, right? Like, even if you only really care about raiding, you got to give it to the art team. They're killing it. Everything they do looks super, super on point. And I'm excited to explore these new zones and hang out with my friends in new areas. And you know what? I'm not afraid to admit that. Coming at number 9. Now, this is actually something that I am really, really excited for. Not for myself, but just kind of by association. I really want people to enjoy World of Warcraft and be able to jump into the game. And I feel like the onboarding of World of Warcraft has always been kind of an issue. They've mostly tried to solve it with boosting, but I feel like boosting your first character is a massive mistake, because basically you're skipping all the learning that would be involved with getting your character on board, and then you'll probably just end up feeling overwhelmed. So the fact that they are redesigning the leveling experience, they're squishing the stats down to make every level feel more impactful. I feel like this will help newer players getting into the game, give it kind of like a modern MMO feel, because this is one of those situations where World of Warcraft has really struggled, is like, you get a new friend to play the game, maybe they boost their character right away, they instantly burn out because they don't know what they're doing, right? So one way to fix this is to make players actually kind of learn those steps by leveling up their character. But the way that leveling works right now is just really weird, and it makes basically no sense, right? Like you start in Cataclysm, and then you go back in time to TBC, and then you move forward a little bit for Wrath of the Lich King. But wait, if you're a Death Knight, though, then that means you started after Wrath of the Lich King. The timeline, everything, none of it really makes any sense. The fact that you're able to, in the new leveling system, kind of choose your own adventure is great, and it helps you actually absorb everything that's happening in the story, because if you're just jumping around from expansion to expansion like you do right now in live, and you're only spending, basically time in the first zone, you never really get to actually enjoy those zones and what work was put into those zones for that expansion. So I feel like giving you the ability to level all the way through one of the expansions, and then maybe choose a different expansion on your new character is great. And I'm very excited to see this change. And coming at number 10, this is going to be a minor one, but I do appreciate it. New UI changes. So this is going to be including the new changes to the quest log, to how icons appear on the screen. So we're talking about like main quests versus side quests. But we're talking about pinning things on your map, having objectives show up on your actual UI instead of having to go into your map. And also the ability to reload and get new add-ons in the game without having to close out of your game. I know this might seem minor to some of you, but this is actually pretty huge for me, because there are times when I want to try out a new add-on, or maybe there's something I want to change, but we're in the midst of progression and I just can't, right? Like I can't log out of the game. Also situations where maybe, you just started playing and you don't want to have to close out the game fully and reopen it. It might be minor things, but I feel like the UI of WoW can always have improvement. There's always room for improvement there. So obviously this is a very, very old game that we are all playing and that we enjoy. But, stuff like this helps it feel less dated. All right, so that's going to do it. Like I said before, this is a list of my top 10 things. A list of my top least favorite things will be coming out soon, right? Wanted to end this one on a positive note. Thank you all for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have your own ideas for what you're most excited for in Shadowlands, I'd love to hear in the comments. Also, if you just want to complain about stuff too, that's fine, right? But because we'll be talking about that soon as well. So thanks for watching the video, and if you enjoyed it, please like the video, please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.